we're going to kick off the event this evening. What a great turnout. Just great energy in the room, and the music's just a great start to it. So good evening, everybody. As I mentioned earlier, we do have Alex in the back, so we have a chance. She'll probably talk about it later, but please do compost and recycle back there. We've got some helpers in the back. So I'm Ben Mardick. I'm the City Administrator in Northfield, so I serve at the pleasure of the Mayor and City Council as the Chief Administrative Officer for the city. I work with a dedicated, energetic, and talented staff in delivering excellent, innovative municipal services that carries out the city's vision for a high quality of life. It is my honor tonight to introduce our mayor that you all know. Mayor Parnell was first elected as City Council member to Northfield in 2008. She was elected to the office of mayor in 2016 while serving her second term as a council member at large. In addition to being mayor, she's currently involved with the Economic Development Authority, they meet tomorrow morning, the Ice Arena Advisory Board. Mayor Parnell represents the Northfield as immediate past president of the League of Minnesota Cities Board of Directors, the trustee for the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust, and the League of Minnesota Cities Improving Service Delivery Policy Committee. And those are very sought after and distinguished positions to serve that go through a very rigorous process, so we certainly are honored to have the mayor serving in those roles. So please join me in a round of applause in welcoming Mayor Parnell.
Thank you so much, everyone. I agree, the music was absolutely fantastic. Thanks so much. So it's so fun to be here with all of you. This is such a great attendance that we have here. I think that we have so many people. So we're moving up next year. It's 150, 140, right? So it's absolutely fantastic. So tonight you'll hear about some of our current projects, our goals, and opportunities for our community in the coming year ahead. Let's see, how do I shut off the show? Those pictures are awesome, aren't they? I love them. Where's the one where Deputy Chief Ducats is on that bike? Michelle's working on it. So the next portion of our agenda is we get to hear from our Northfield Poet Laureate. Our Northfield Poet Laureate program is sponsored by the City of Northfield and funded by the Northfield Public Library and the Friends of the Library in partnership with the Northfield Arts and Culture Commission. In its second year, an initial funding was provided through the CMAC grant in the Northfield Public Library. Poet Laureate Rob Hardy is in his second of 3 years as Northfield's official poet. Has created poetry programs at the library, the schools, content books, the colleges, and brought nationally known poets to town for special readings. Rob has created a very special inclusive poem for the library's atrium, and he also creates poetry for special civic events such as this one tonight. So it is my honor to welcome up Rob Hardy, Northfield Poet Laureate, to share words of reflection and inspiration on the poet. Rob Hardy.
I always wanted to start a poem. Well, actually, I didn't always want to, but it's kind of a bonus that I get to start this poem with a quote from Muhammad Ali, which is what inspired the poem. He said, "Service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on earth." Who owns this place? I asked the oak, and the oak gave me shade and filled my lungs. I asked the prairie grass, and the grass drew carbon from the air and sequestered it deep in the soil. I asked the bee as it hauled pollen from flower to flower, and then I asked the flower, whose roots spoke to the oak, who spoke to the prairie grass, and the conversation goes on among the roots. I took my question to the river, but the river carried it away on its current to the sea. I thought the rain might have the answer, as it spoke to the fields, and as the fields answered with flowers, from soil the prairie made, and bees came and answered the flowers. I asked myself, who owns this place? And I knew I was not the answer, so I began to ask myself a different question. How can I pay the rent for my room here on earth?
Rob's poem on the back of tonight's program, if you haven't seen it already, and you can, if you haven't taken a look at our, in the atrium of the Northfield Library, you can see, there it is up there, so if you haven't been in the library, look up, and you'll find this poem is absolutely fantastic. So tonight, oops, all right, so tonight, I would like to also recognize my colleagues on the City Council this evening for their commitment and dedication to serving Northfield. Each one of them brings a unique perspective and insights to leading our community. We together are stronger by our commitment to improving our community, collaboration where analysis, debate, and disagreement improve the value of the ideas, bring attention to risks, and lead to enhanced trust among the participants. So could all my council colleagues that are here this evening, could you just stand for a moment, please? All right. Okay, so new this year, we've created a City of Northfield Board and Commission Member of Excellence Award. The award provides recognition to an individual city board member or commissioner for accomplishments of outstanding worth in advancing and improving public services in the city of Northfield. We need great volunteers on our city boards and commissions, and this is really an opportunity to recognize the important work that you all do for our community. So the selection criteria is based on exceptional contributions to the city of Northfield, fellow employees, and the community in the following areas. Perform their duties exceptionally well and takes initiative to go beyond expectations of their role. Improves or enhances service and quality of work in ways that makes a substantial difference for their respective commission or board. Exemplifies professionalism, teamwork, and dedication. Advocates for creative solutions to policy problems that exemplify the vision and mission of the City of Northfield and other related guiding documents. Demonstrates a high ethical standard, including a commitment to the rules of decorum and rules of order as adopted by the Northfield City Council. Nominations are submitted by peers on the boards and commissions and have been selected by 3 members of our City Council. So with that, drum roll, right? All right. So this year's award for Board and Commission Member of Excellence Award is Bonnie Jean Plum. Bonnie Jean does an exemplary job at showing gratitude for the work of her fellow commissioners, recognizing them at every opportunity during meetings and in email communications. She builds community in all of her interactions and exemplifies the spirit of service that our community prides itself on. She provides enormous energy and support to the activities of the ACC by almost single-handedly coordinating and facilitating both the Living Treasure Award and the Sidewalk Poetry Contest. Bonnie Jean, would you please say a few words?
I am rather comfortable with the microphone in my hand, so anyway, thank you, Mayor Pownell. All of us in this room have answered the call to public service through our work on Northfield's boards and commissions. And as I stand here, I am reminded of how I represent all of you in receiving this award, especially, of course, the members of the Arts and Culture Commission. When I was asked to say a few words tonight, I really wasn't quite sure what I wanted to say other than thank you. But then I got to thinking about how fortunate we are to live in a community that not only invites our participation on boards and commissions, but appreciates and celebrates it as well. And just today, I discovered another reason to say thank you to our city. In a Northfield Hospital Facebook post, I was reminded that it is National Volunteer Month. And I was delighted to learn that there is a growing body of research that associates volunteering with better physical and mental health. So, not only is our city giving us a voice through our participation, it is also quite likely, according to Harvard research, that we are physically and mentally more healthy because of it. And a Baltimore Experiences Corps study, also noted on the Facebook page, suggests that our volunteering also results in cognitive improvements, something we would all welcome. So thank you, city. So indeed, we can be thankful for the healthy rewards of volunteering, and now there is research to back up what we probably knew all along. So in closing, I wish to express my gratitude. While being selected, while being selected for this award certainly brings me much pleasure, it is the nomination from my peers that brings the greatest joy. I am deeply privileged to serve on the Arts and Culture Commission and look forward to continuing my work with my fellow commissioners in the promotion of arts and culture in Northfield. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie Jean, for your leadership on the Arts and Culture Commission. We truly are a treasure. So another one. Next, another first-time award for this year is the 2018 Ethics Award, which was developed to recognize a junior or senior high school student who exhibits high ethical standards. Siri Hoff's nominators stated that she has been a consistent champion of what is good and right in the world. Siri is a tireless advocate for historically marginalized populations in our school, community, and country. Ethics and equity are the pulse that beats in Siri's heart. I've personally witnessed Siri's ethical behaviors as she served as an intern for the city of Northfield this past summer, and also in her service on the Human Rights Commission through the Youth First Board and Commission program. Siri has demonstrated moral principles that include honesty, fairness, dignity, respect, diversity, and individual rights. Let's give Siri a round of applause. I believe she's here. Could you stand up? I believe, Siri, you're heading on to another awards banquet this evening. Congratulations. Thanks for being here. Okay, so tonight I am pleased to introduce to you our guest speaker, Sarah Carlson. She is a professional certified coach, a sports mom, and is an OLE graduate. Sarah's clarity, systems perspective, and grounded approach has helped clients in professional services, small business, and higher education develop the skills and capacities that they need to lead in the midst of rapidly changing environments. Sarah is accredited as a professional coach by the International Coach Federation. Her company's tagline is "Making the Complex Clear." Could you please help me welcome up Sarah Carlson?
Thank you, Mayor Pownell. You can also just call me Siri's mom, because that's really going on in this town. Sometimes Annika's, sometimes Tygan's, but often Siri's. So, thank you. This is an amazing group of people. And before I jump into what I wanted to talk about, I wanted to see who we have in the room. Meaning, how many of you are on your first run at a board and commission? So you're in your first 1 to 3 years. Woo! I love that we have these kids involved. What a lovely opportunity for them to mentor and to learn from you guys about what it means to lead. Thank you for those of you who are new, stepping into something like this. You don't necessarily know what you're getting into. All right, how about the 4 years to say 12 years? These people have some staying power, right? You knew what you're up for, you knew what it was going to take, and you stepped in again, and sometimes again, in different roles. And finally, the elders of the community among us, more than 12 years, that's just impressive. It really, really is. And I was really appreciative of Ron inviting me to speak here tonight because you're my people. This is what I believe we're all responsible for creating the community we need. You know, it's easy to sit on the sidelines and go, yeah, I wish they would do that better. I can't believe they don't handle this. I can't believe we don't have this option. It's a whole different thing to say, all right, I'll get in there. I'll try and figure it out. And so I really like that. One, they're bringing you together to see how many of you there are, so you know you're not holding it alone. There's lots of people doing lots of good work here. And two, that you're actually getting a moment to stop and recognize. I was listening to Tara Brock this morning, and she talked about how painful experiences come in and go right into our core right away. We don't have to pause. Good experiences, recognizing experiences, you have to pause and let them come in to get them all the way into your system so that they actually stay with you. And so this is one of those moments. Take a pause. So leading from where you are, I'm a little bit of a leadership geek. I think about it all the time. And on each of your tables, I put a little stack of papers. So rather than doing a PowerPoint, I always like people to be able to take something with. Because as a coach, what I realized is you can know something conceptually. In fact, most of the leadership books are written as though all of us are at a higher level of adult development than we actually are. And so we can read stuff and go, oh yeah, this is great, I'm going to implement this. And then you go back and do the same thing over. And so if you're going to start doing something differently, you actually have to practice it. You're building new neural pathways in your brain. And so I'm going to give you a framework for leadership that I use a lot with the people I work with. Because it gives you a way to think of yourself and where you're currently strong and where you might want to start building something. Because you've all decided you're going to give some of your time back to the city. You're going to spend some time, 3 hours a month, 12 hours a month, 24, I don't know how much time you guys spend. There's lots of stuff going on in this town. Someone's doing a lot of work. And if you're going to spend that kind of time, I always feel like, why wouldn't you do it with a lot of intention and develop the parts of you want to develop? And be the kind of team member or leader that is needed by your group. And so the model I'm going to talk about, it came out of I was trained through the Coaches Training Institute, and they also do a 10-month leadership program that I did that was really transformational for me. And this is the model they talk about. And it's not about which type of leader you are, it's really the dimensions of your leadership and how you think about those dimensions. And so there are 5 different dimensions they talk about. One is leading from the front. That's the model we're used to. Some people who are the positional leaders. The mayor, the superintendent, the pastor, the teacher, who's up in front, who people expect to be talking, expect to be leading the room. And they often are expected, we have expectations of those people. They have vision, they're inspiring, they can bring people along. Some of us are like, ooh, not me. I'm not that kind of person. I don't want to lead. That was me when I got roped into being on Friends of Wayne Park and then was the vice president of the chair really quickly and had no idea what I was doing. I don't want to be in the front of the room. I have to go talk to the hospital now? What? I don't want to do that. And so that was a real growth thing for me. Some of you are like, yep, sign me up. Put me in the front. I want to run things. I know where we're going. I want to do it. So I want you to pause for a minute and think about yourself. Self-reflection is a huge predictor of leadership success. Self-awareness, knowing yourself. And so there's a little section on the worksheet where you can give yourself a score, 0 to 10. Where are you on that? So if you're one of those people, no, don't put me in front, where it says leader from the front, give yourself like a 1, 2. If you're like, oh yeah, got it handled, 9, 10, give yourself a score. It's just a minute to stop and go, all right, I've got that one handled, or yeah, I can work on that, especially if they're looking to me to chair something next year, or if they're looking for me to do some speaking, if that's what's needed on the board. The next, I of course didn't bring up my notes sheet. Leading from beside. So leading from beside, some of us are great at. And when I talk about that, I'm really talking about partnering with someone. So now it's not about my having expertise. It's about you've got expertise, I've got expertise. Let's sit next to each other. and look at the problem together. And let's establish a strong relationship and a strong partnership So we can be really creative, we can take some risks, we can challenge each other's thinking, we can get great outcomes. So you're a really strong collaborator. When you're on a board or you're on a commission, that might be a huge skill. That might be something you really need to grow. And if you're not great at that, be honest with yourself about it. Yeah, I don't really like to share the power with people. I don't really like, it's hard for me to step into those kind of relationships. And again, take a moment and just think about that for yourself. How much of a leader from the side are you? Is that one that's a little shaky, or is that one actually where you're the most comfortable? So again, you can take a minute and give yourself a rating. The next one we think about is leading from behind. Sometimes you're not at the front of the room, and that's actually a good thing. Sometimes you've been at the front of the room for a long time, and you need new people to step in. But I can tell you, if you keep coming in at the front, putting your expertise in the space, setting the direction, telling people where they're supposed to be going, good luck developing the people who you need to come up next. I do a lot of work with small business owners, and that's often really, really a hard one for them. To get into a place where they can empower someone else to step in newly, especially if it's their child, to whom they're wanting to sell the business or give the business or something. That transition is a really hard one to make, and sometimes that's where our biggest growth is, and sometimes that's what's being asked for from us for things to go well. It might not be where we want to be. We feel good being in front, but being in behind might be a good place. Now, as you think about this for yourself, don't only think about your boards and commissions. Think about your families. Think about your church. Think about your synagogue. Think about wherever you are in relationship with other people, which part of that. And there might be opportunities for you to be thinking about, maybe now is when I need to lead from behind. And what could that look like for me? The fourth one I think about is leading from within. And one of the questions I ask people all the time is this decision in integrity for yourself? Are you acting in ways that are in integrity for you, whatever that means? And sometimes that means, if you're pleasing too much, if you're saying what people want to hear, even though you know it's not the right thing, that's actually out of integrity. Even though people around you are giving you positive feedback because you're saying the things you want to say, they want to hear, it's out of integrity for you. As a leader, as a person who's taking responsibility for their world, you want to be really aware of, am I in integrity with myself right now, or am I not? Am I in integrity with this process, or am I not? Am I in integrity with what this town needs, or am I not? And that's different for different people, but being willing to ask that question, when you're leading from the place of integrity, when you know who you are, when you're walking your own talk, people come along. Doesn't matter if you're leading in front of the room. But if people can trust that what you say is what you do and you follow through, that's leading from within. And the final component, so again, you can stop and give yourself a rating. I always want it to be about, what's true for me? Because that's where the growth comes. The last one they call leading from the field. And this is the one that's a little bit, strange for people. But I think about it like, sometimes you're in a meeting or something, and everyone can feel there's something unsaid. And no one says it. We step over our intuition, we step over our gut, we step over that part. When I think about leading from the field, I also think about when you're starting to pay attention to what's actually needed by the group in front of me, by the town, because so often we get leading, where we get moving on something, and we're connected to what we're moving on. We're in the data, we're looking down, we're working on whatever it is, instead of looking up and going, okay, so we've been working on this regulation to get us to this point, and we're wordsmithing it, and in the process, we lost track of what's actually needed. Leaders who are leading from the field, it's a very different kind of leading. You're leading with creativity, and imagination, and openness, a sensing of what's actually needed as opposed to what you want to give. And that's a very different place to look. And so for me, that actually was a place I was comfortable. Like I would walk into a space and be like, oh my God, we need to say this. But I think, oh no, it shouldn't be. I'm not the leader in the front. It's not my role. It's like, oh, well, if we're all doing that, if we're all see what else is true. You know, leading from the field is all about holding a larger perspective and getting out beyond what's important for me, what's important for our group, what's important for this town, what's important for the community. You know, you're holding a big frame as you're making decisions about where to move and what's needed from you. And so again, taking a moment to think about it, where does that come up from you? So I invite you tonight, you know, because I can't help myself. Imagine my poor husband being married to me, and I'm always looking for, why wouldn't we all be trying to develop ourselves all the time? It kills me that there is a lot of research on what it takes to be an effective leader, and most of us get to a place where we're like, all right, I'm good, I got it handled. Even though the world's changing rapidly, even though the situations around us are changing rapidly, even though the competing needs are really hard to navigate, even though the amount of data coming at us is really hard to, you know, why would we not? You know, for me, it's like, I'm so relieved when people want to develop themselves, want to start to pay attention to, how can I do this better? And you guys are giving so much of yourselves. Such an opportunity to go, how can I get better at this? So that at the end of the day, I can have the impact I want to have on my community, on my colleagues, on my family. You know, so often we get in, just where we are as humans, we're designed to pattern things. You know, our brains go into patterns, and we act out of those things from now until kingdom come, unless we stop and decide to go a different way. And one of my favorite questions for clients is, so you've been doing this behavior, is this the outcome you want? Well, no. Okay, that means something different has to happen here, right? So what are the other options? Well, I guess I could have done this. Okay, do you want to do that? I guess I could, I'm not sure it'll work. Okay, well, try it, let's see. So you go out and try it and come back and say, oh yeah, when I listened longer, it went better. When I cared about them more, it went better. You know, you can ask my teenagers. The biggest pivot for me in my coaching and leadership training was really with my kids. Because as a parent, you want to be a leader in the front. I can tell you what you should do. Here's where you should go. Here's the decision you should make. You better not do that anymore. And guess what? They fight against that. Moving into a leader from the side, I've got some information about this. Been alive for a lot of years. I can tell you some of the things that might happen here. Do you want that information? What do you know about it? What do you want to have happen? You know, in that instance, my being able to lead from the side is so much more helpful to them than my leading from the front. And so bringing consciousness to how you're showing up, how you're doing this work together, will make the work go better. Maybe I'll just have that. Actually, no, I can't do it. One more thing. As a coach, I would love it if you would actually choose one of those areas and think about what is that, where is the area that I would like to grow next? If you don't want to do it, you won't do it. But if you say want to lead from the front, better. What's one step you could take in the next 2 weeks? And say it out loud to someone. You say it out loud and then you actually follow through. If you want to, you know, lead from the front, make yourself commit to speaking in front of somebody. Or challenging yourself to get better at running a meeting, or something like that. If you want to get better at leading from behind, choose someone who you think is ready for something new. Ask them, could I support you in that? And then start to think about, how can I empower them in their leadership? What would that look like? And what's a step I can take in doing that? If you need ideas, ask me. I have lots of them because I am a peak. And I think about this stuff all the time. Thank you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you so much, Sarah. What a fantastic job. I love to be challenged, right? That we all have an opportunity where we can choose to be better leaders by caring for one another, by being better listeners, right? Like leading from the side or leading from behind, or in the moment, right? Where you might need to step up in front and lead from the front. And it might not be where you want to be. I've been there. It might not be where you really want to be, but it's maybe what your community needs. It's maybe what your team needs. And so just really want to say thank you to you, Sarah, for being here tonight and sharing that important message with us. So I think that we are about to take a little bit of a turn here. So Mr. Marty, do you want to
That sounds great. Thank you, Mayor. So new this year, what we're looking at doing is, as I think you know, we're engaging all of you in this process. So we're here to say thank you tonight, but we're also here to be part of it. Because you're on your boards and commissions, to kind of hear from others on what's going on, to share that you're a part of a bigger team and really what's happening on all of our boards and commissions. So with that, we're going to move on to that area. And I guess one of the things too is we've set up the people to do the updates. We got 1 to 2 minutes from each board and commission, and everybody has a representative, I think primarily a chair or a staff person, or we were delegated back out of that. So we're going to go around. The mayor's got a microphone, and I've got one as well. So we're just going to get started here. There we go. All right. So this is the new and improved board and commission here that we've got. So introduce yourself, and then roll right into it. And thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Patrick Gordon, and I have the privilege of representing the brand new Northfield ASAP, the Alliance for Substance Abuse Prevention here in Northfield. The name might not sound familiar, but maybe the name Mayor's Task Force on Youth Alcohol and Drug Use does. So the Mayor's Task Force had existed for the past 12 years, and now we are now Northfield ASAP. We get the privilege to be a commission and be able to be connected. So we're very grateful for that opportunity. Some of the things that we have going on currently right now, one, we have to kind of advertise our new name out there and some of the work we're doing. We're working on some vaping prevention education in high school and also in middle school, as we've seen youth shift from tobacco into other substances. This is a new and upcoming one that we want to be able to talk about. In the high school, we are working on a Be Safe and Sober campaign, so our youth on our commission are working hard on that as we approach prom, to encourage students to be safe and sober around that event. We work to kind of, currently we've been working to support ongoing initiatives, some of them like Take It to the Box. So how do we return unused or unwanted prescription medications? We work to educate around initiatives like Tip 411, so anonymous reporting for all people in Northfield when they're concerned about something. We have a Solace campaign, which is in about 30 locations across Northfield. You might have seen them in backups in different areas, educating on a variety of topics. And then other than that, we're kind of just working to keep going with some of the other community initiatives, things that happen every year, like Night to Unite. We're going to support the Oak Clinic and extra staffing with them. We have a community baby shower that's coming up soon that everybody should attend. Otherwise than that, we look forward to being engaged more with the commissions. And if you have any questions, direct to me or anybody else on our commission, let me know. Thanks.
Next, we have the Mayor's Youth Council and the board and youth on board.
Hi everyone, I'm Malia Collin. I am the Adult Advisor to the Youth on Boards program and the Mayor's Youth Council. The Mayor's Youth Council is made up of 18 students, and unfortunately they're all really busy students, so they couldn't be here tonight with the combination of the awards banquet and play practice and baseball and lacrosse, and they're finally outside and they're really excited about it. So they couldn't be here. But I do have, so the Mayor's Youth Council is 18 students. In addition, there are about 30 students that sit on 10 additional boards and commissions in the community. So they serve with all of you, and we have 5 of those those students here tonight. We have Siri Hoff, who you met earlier, who serves on human rights. And then Hannah Singh, who serves on arts and culture, is here tonight. Audrey Pagel from the Housing and Redevelopment Authority. Nina Abdullah from the Library Board. And Katie Schroer. I have such a hard time with that last name. Who serves on the Environmental Quality Commission. Oh, and Kenyon just showed up. Kenyon Nystrom, who's on the Parks and Rec Board. So they are a great group of students, and I hope that you are all utilizing them. The Mayor's Youth Council really works on hearing from all of the students that are sitting on the boards and commissions throughout the city, bringing that information back, and then trying to get more information from their peers, so they get a wide swath of youth voice that they can then bring to City Council, because they are an advisory council to the City Council, like all of the other boards and commissions. This year, the Mayor's Youth Council has really been focused on creating communication. And they've done that in a variety of ways. In the fall, with help from the Human Rights Commission, they held an informational meeting on the municipal IDs for students at the high school, so they could really hear directly what those municipal IDs would be like in the city and what they would do and what they wouldn't do. They also held an event called Marnita's Table, where they had representatives from all 3 of the high schools come together and just try and get to know one another and ask difficult questions of one another and try and break down some of those barriers that exist between those 3 different high schools in our community. And then the other thing that they spent a lot of time doing is they developed values. What are the values of the Mayor's Youth Council, and how is that going to drive their work going forward? And how do they use that as a filter for what the city's doing, and where do they fit in when the city's doing a project, and how do they speak up on that using their values? So they're doing great work. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Melissa Herzog-Melby, the chair of the Arts and Culture Commission. So in 2017, we continued our various programs and initiatives, both new and continuing. Notably, we wrote a policy, the Art in Public Places policy, that will help guide the city in new and existing public art installations. We also sponsored a group of 6 community members, including Mayor Pownell, Teresa Jensen, 2 Karna Hauk from ACC, myself, Lisa Peterson from CBB, Megan Proft from the Arts Guild, and Daphne McCoy from Carlton, Kennedy, and the NDDC to attend the Arts Club cohort. And what we've been working on since September is thinking about an update to our cultural plan, and I'm happy to report that at the next May ACC meeting, a first draft will be delivered. Very exciting. And then we also continue to promote ACC initiatives like Sidewalk Poetry and Poem in Your Pocket Day, which is actually tomorrow, so please stop by various businesses, including Content, to grab a poem for your pocket. The Living Treasures Award, which honors a living treasure here in Northfield who's contributed to the arts and culture. This year it was awarded to Judy Code. The High School Sculpture Project, led by Karna Hauk, which will be installed in late May, early June. And the Northfield Poet Laureate in partnership with the Northfield Public Library.
Hello, I'm Lance Heisler. I'm the chairman of the Charter Commission. Our commission, unlike I think some of the others in town, we have a fairly narrow focus, and that is to protect our local charter. And sometimes we are looking for avenues a bit outside that, and we decided maybe we'd take on the U.S. Constitution, but we called it the U.S. Supreme Court to find out what it was all about, and they said they had no clue. So we went back to the Charter Commission. In the preamble to the Charter Commission, it says that it is proper that cities spell out the freedoms and responsibilities of their citizens that make for good order. And in some ways, the Charter Commission that we have is sort of like a dollar bill. It's only effective if the folks involved with it have confidence in it. And so part of our job, like any other document, nothing anticipates every problem, every circumstance, any fact. And so we try to look at the charter with a view towards making it relevant, making it understandable, and making it effective. And so our job is to try to keep that document fresh and updated so that we have some confidence in it, because it's our structural document. It's the document that sets up our city council, our mayor, our city administration, our city administrator, even our city hospital. And so it's an important piece of work that we need to keep front and center. We need to take it very seriously, and at the same time, we need to make it a document that all of us can understand and all of us can buy into. And that's what we do.
Hi everyone, my name is Alex Miller. I'm the Sustainability Program Coordinator here at Carleton, so I'm going to kind of wear that for a second and explain what's in your box lunch and where it should go. So the first thing is these chip bags. They go in a TerraCycle box, which is just right on top there, that black bin. The student initiative to collect hard to recycle materials, so granola bars and chip bag wrappers can go in those special containers. We have plastic wrap from your cookie and from your wrap that can just go in the landfill. Those are the only 2 landfill items in here. Any food waste, you can put in the compost, and if you haven't eaten something, you can leave it on tap for the Food Recovery Network, which is also a student organization. And we have the tissue paper and the napkins can go in the compost. And then the only two items that can be recycled are your bottle of water, and then you can flatten your box and put in recycling as well. I'll stand back there too, and you can ask me questions, but I thought I'd just shout that out. So, take that hat off. I'll take that hat off and I'll put on the Climate Action Plan Advisory Board co-chair hat. Alan Anderson is my co-chair, and he is unable to be here tonight, so I'll just speak to our really fresh and green group, pun intended. And so, it's a temporary board established by City Council to create a climate action plan for the city. And it's underneath the climate change impacts priority of the strategic plan. So just the one little piece I'll share with you tonight about the Climate Action Plan Advisory Board is, what is a climate action plan? Has anyone heard of what that is? Okay, so I should probably define that as a good start. Okay, so a climate action plan is just something with, typically it's a carbon reduction goal. So for example, Carlton's is carbon free by the year 2050. And then there's a bunch of interim goals in between that to hit our zero target. And then there's action steps in between there, like complete streets or having compost and recycling in your building, in addition to LED lighting retrofits and behavior change initiatives to reduce carbon in the first place. So basically writing a plan for Northfield to become carbon free at some point. And so it's a lot to be determined, and that's what this board will decide.
All right, good evening, everybody. I'm Brett Ackerman. I'm way back here in the other corner of the room. And I'm fortunate and privileged to currently serve as the president of the Economic Development Authority in Northfield. I've been working with the EDA since 2016. I'm a local attorney, and I really enjoy my work on the EDA. Briefly, for those of you who don't know, in 1987, the Minnesota legislature created a chapter of laws which took some power from the state level and made it available for cities. And it made it available for cities to be able to focus on economic development in a way that made sense for those localities. And so this is the same chapter which provides authority for port authorities, which we don't have here, even though we do have the Canyon River, but it's not really a port, and other housing redevelopment authorities. And so beginning in the late 80s, that kind of empowered communities to be able to have an ability to create and manage economic development on their own. So at the EDA specifically, last year, we had the opportunity to work with a really good consultant, Craig Rapp, who also worked with the City Council in order to develop some engage in a strategic planning process and kind of work on our goals in order to be able to vision and target where we want to move forward. And so out of that strategic planning process, in December of last year, we adopted a new business plan, new business development plan, so that if there are current, or if there are new, or if there are existing businesses who are interested in applying for any sort of funding, whether it be through grant programs, loan programs, our revolving loan program, we've streamlined that plan. It was always on the books, and we brought it into vision with the city's vision, as well as with our ongoing 3-year work plan. So check it out, it's on our website. And so with this new 2017 business subsidy policy, specifically there are identified 8 different factors that we would look at as the EDA and also as a city in determining whether a project would meet the merits of funding to be provided through the EDA. And those 8 factors are also now in line with our 3-year work plan, which came out of our strategic planning session. And so from that 3-year work plan, basically there are 6 main directives or objectives that the EDA and staff is to focus on. And so that would be business expansion, business retention, workforce development and protection, improving communication, enhancing and improving infrastructure, and redevelopment. So go on our website, which you can find the work plan, and you can see those 6 goals and directives, and you can see how we're targeting outcomes for those directives. And also, while I'm here tonight, I'd like to thank, right now we have 7 commissioners serve on the EDA. That's pursuant to statute, two of whom are city council people, also pursuant to statute. We're funded by public dollars, that is public money, also pursuant to statute. But we do exist vis-a-vis an enabling resolution from the city council, which started back in the 90s and gets periodically tweaked over time and as necessary. And so while I'm here tonight on behalf of myself and the rest of the commissioners on the Economic Development Authority, I would also like to thank city staff that we work with very closely moving forward. All city staff has been excellent and very helpful, professional, and experienced in working. Specifically, we work a lot with our city administrator, Ben Martig, who is here and standing behind me. But also, we've got Chris Hyman, who's present in the room. We work with him at every meeting and very closely. He's serving as our Community Development Director. Nate Carlson is our designated guy as our Economic Development Coordinator, so he has to handle the more annoying and the smaller things and kind of keep me in line when I get to be annoying myself. And finally, Michaela Fisher serves as our secretary, and her position with the city is as Community Development Specialist. So without the dedication and perseverance and strength of our city staff members, we couldn't do what we do, and I'd like to thank them.
Me again, sorry. I just couldn't get enough of this. So I joined two commissions. So I am the vice chair of the Environmental Quality Commission as well. So Kim Smith is the chair of the Environmental Quality Commission and cannot be here tonight. So I'll just share quickly about what we've been up to the last year and what we're working on right now. So we reviewed the following documents: the Cannon River One Watershed One Plan, the community solar subscription for the city, as well as the LED street lighting conversion project. We've also approved the emerald ash borer policy for removal and treatment of ash trees in response to the threat of emerald ash borer in our community. And then we also recommended, which was the bulk of our work, recommending the Climate Action Plan Advisory Board to City Council as part of advancing their strategic initiatives. And then the last thing, what we're working on right now, after we've passed off the Climate Action Plan Advisory Board to that board now, working on the DSI waste hauling contract with the intention of renewing it again, but then we're just going through it right now and tweaking it to see if there's anything we want to add or delete. So if you have any ideas about your waste, let us know.
Awesome, thanks, Alex. Jason Menard.
I don't know that Jason's here, as I was just kind of scrambling to look for him. I didn't see him, so maybe impromptu, we'll have Scott quit too. I didn't see, Jason, are you here? I don't think I saw him. You're okay? All right, thank you for volunteering.
Excellent, way to stand up and take the front, Barbara, way to go. Well, I'll have to look at the notes they put together, but I'm Barbara Evans, and I'm on the Heritage Preservation Commission. And we made a little splash in the water with resurveying the historic downtown district, which actually began in 2016, and presented the results to the city council. The end result was adding 4 properties to the historic district, which is the first time that's happened in 40 years. So we're very excited about adding 4 properties and getting all the records straight so that we have the proper lines. Some of the property lines were running through people's buildings, and so now the survey has straightened out all of that. We are in the middle of finishing up the 50-year celebration. I've been doing some walking tours and teaching classes and doing other kinds of things, as well as writing a column in the paper called Focus on Preservation. And we've submitted a proposal for the expansion. In order to get those 4 properties in now, we have to take the next step. And we're working on updating the historic code so that when building owners come to us and want approval of signs or lighting or whatever, that we're clearer in our own language. And we've brought in some of the major players who provide those services to the city to ask what we can do to make their job easier, clearer. And so some people in the room here have actually come before us to ask about signs. We're trying to be quick, efficient, clear. That'll do it. Thank you.
You must have done well in the impromptu speech speech class. That was great.
I'm taught speech.
Oh, there you go.
My name is Charlie Andilli, and I'm here on behalf of the hospital board, going into my second year as the chair of the board. As somebody who thinks a lot about health systems, health policy, my day job, increasingly, Northfield and Northfield Hospital is extremely unique. I think a lot of things about Northfield. An institution, a medical center that is operated, focused entirely on the community in which it's owned is really unique. As you know, there's big health systems that are focused on big geographic areas, but an institution that is born out of and focused entirely on the community that it's in is really a dying model, unfortunately. But really, on behalf of the board, we really view this as one of our biggest assets and are committed to staying independent and agile here in town. So things are going really well. Really, Steve and his staff are working really hard to go toe-to-toe with a lot of those regional folks and collaborate where we can and hold our own. And one of the things we do as a board is an evaluation of Steve. It's annual review, and I got Steve peek at it today, but just the results of which I think we are extremely grateful and lucky as a community and as a health center to have Steve at the helm of this. Him and his leadership team are really doing exemplary work at navigating institutions, so we should all feel really, really great about that on behalf of the board and folks that are looking at that. Some accomplishments and goals for the last year and moving forward. We've got some new downtown service and express care, urgent care clinic, a partnership with Sterling Drug and a spectacular organization, Health Finders. That's going really well. It was kind of a soft launch earlier this month, and without doing much marketing, they're starting to get much more busy. And I think we'll be looking for a more public grand opening in the next month or so. There's a foundation that the board approved, really looking at how, as a group, we can focus on supporting the institution and working with contributions of grateful patients and families and others to ensure that we really want that this institution is here for future generations in its current form. The senior and assisted living facility will be constructed adjacent to our campus up there and on the edge where the solar array is. That's an exciting project. That took a lot of work from folks in this room. Thanks for the city for shepherding that. And we have a lot of new providers. I think there's a lot of folks that look to Northfield as unique, that it is so successful, but not beholden to a larger system outside of the community. And again, I think we are able to attract a lot of excellent providers and specialists, like you see up there, for that reason. So I think on behalf of the board, I think you can know that the institution is strong and working really hard to stay that.
Good evening. My name is Chris Heineman. I'm the Community Development Director. And as Britt noted, the HRA is one of the other statutory boards that the City of Northfield has, enabled by state statute to do housing redevelopment type work within the city limits. Our chair, Dana Norvald, is not able to be here tonight, but nor I think the remaining board member that was here is Erica's wife, who went off to be another high school event. So I will just run through some of the recent notes and accomplishments. The HRA does meet on a monthly basis. Actually just had their meeting last night. Some of the things that they've done over the last year include an annual assistance with street assessment projects. That's something that the HRA has done out of their own fund balance for many years, providing those that qualify for assistance, direct funding assistance when the street assessment project comes through a certain neighborhood. They also work, I guess the funding source, maybe I could mention from a broad sense, for the HRA is also funded through a levy. A small portion of the taxes from the city of Northfield go towards the HRA, but also they receive funds from community development block grants. As part of Dakota County, we qualify as qualify for a portion of their community development block grant funding, or CDBG funding. on an annual basis, approximately $70,000 per year. And the HRA leverages those funds to maintain existing housing and provide some programs to do that. There's several different programs that they manage for rehab and assistance. They also provide down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. That program has been increasingly utilized over the last year after several years of rather moderate use. I think there's been 5 closings that have provided up to, in some cases, up to $15,000 assistance for individual homeowners that then is attached as a second mortgage on the property. It actually comes back into the fund if those homes are sold, but it does allow for affordability for entry-level homeowners. And then providing support for first-time, or through the Union of Youth and partnering with Key for the Safe Homes program. That's also a new initiative within that CDBG bucket of funding. One additional source of funding is actually managing some existing rental properties. The HRA has 5 rental properties, and they have various targets for each of those properties that they manage, and rental income from those goes back into the fund balance. Lastly, and probably most importantly right now, the HRA is moving forward with a plan to expand the existing Spring Creek Townhome project as a 28-unit townhome, award-winning townhome project that was constructed in 2013 down just south of the soccer fields. And there's a proposal to expand that by another 32 units. In order to do that, that's a pretty significant undertaking, close to an $8 million undertaking at preliminary estimated costs. And so it would require both HRA assistance. We're looking at supporting a housing tax increment finance district and additional donation of land to make that happen. And then also applying to the state, to the Minnesota Housing and Finance Agency for low-income housing tax credits. That's a significant funding source that the state manages. So that application is moving forward in the next 30 days or so. So those are just some of the things that the HRA is working on.
We have to, sorry, I had to wait for that mic to come on. Scott Temple is in the room, and so he was just saying, what about me, right? Oh, the meeting tomorrow night. So I heard you say, well, what about me? Yes.
Related to that housing project, there's a public meeting, an informational meeting in the South Bridge. Actually, it'll be at the middle school, 5:30 to 7 tomorrow night.
Sorry, Scott.
Hi, I'm the chair of the Human Rights Commission, and we have pictures. So you can see that we've been very busy this year. We started the year with the International Day of Peace celebration. We don't have pictures there, but there were pictures. And is the UN celebration of peace the 21st of September. So that sets the mood of the year that we have to think of in terms of peace and how we should all be nice to each other. And then this year, over the summer and for a long time, Neighbors United, and I'm the director of Neighbors United, was working to create a municipality in town. And Rhonda, that was participating in part of the conversations of the group and in partnership with many other groups in town, she said, well, the city body to do this is the Human Rights Commission. So present that through the Human Rights Commission, and the Human Rights Commission will present this to the city council. And that's what we did. It was a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of partnerships with different groups in towns, a lot of people coming to the city council. I think it was nice to see the city council packed with so many people in many sessions, and something that we sometimes don't see. And it was great, and learning for many people were the first time coming to the city council. It was great to see how city works and how the city council members decide things and how they relate to each other, because it's not the usual way that people talk to each other. So that was very interesting for many newcomers to the city council. And of course we have every year the celebration of the Martin Luther King, That is always a very moving event. And this year, the recipient of the award was Jennifer Noppert. And if you don't know her, get to know her in the high school. She's a magnificent treasure in town. And she does the Latino Play Festival coming up in May. And I said to Rhonda, it should be mandatory. Everybody in town should go see that play, because I think it's the best play in the whole year. So if you have a chance, be in the lookout in the website of the Northfield Arts Guild. It's at the theater of the Guild. So go see that play, because it's phenomenal. And we had Northfield Reads that Crane very bravely puts together every year, and with the help of city partners. And Revolution Where You Live was the theme of the Northfield Reads this year, and how we can engage in those difficult conversations that they're so needed in this time of the history of this country. And in relation with that, those conversations, we're preparing for the first NAJWA neighborhood meals, and that will come up in July. And the first neighborhood that we identified, and of course NAJWA, it bears the name of NAJWA, was a member of the commission that sadly passed away, but that was her idea, so this is her legacy. And we are going to be meeting at the neighborhood that is Cutting Hat by the North Avenue, that you have the Woodland Trail on one side, and on the other side you have the apartments. And those two sides of town don't mix. And there are other places in town. Parkway also has that. So that would be the first neighborhood that we're going to have a community celebration of mixing people that otherwise they don't mix. So that's coming up in July. And we're already working on, in a couple of weeks, our first strategic planning session for the commission. I don't know exactly what Ben has for us to do. And Justin London is the one leading that effort, and see what we can do in the years to come. We were also very inspired. We went to visit the Bloomington Human Rights Commission, and they are already in their 50th year. We are from the 80s, so they're older than us, and they had also a lot of events, and we kind of gonna be partners with them and see what they have inspired us to also bring to Northfield. And they're going to be coming and see what is happening with the municipality. That we're very excited about that. So they're going to be visiting after it's implemented in June. So yeah, many things. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sarah Beth Weeks, and I am chair of the library board. A lot of what I have to share with you, I can't take credit for as the library board, but some of these are things that the library is going to do. So I want to give a lot of credit to Teresa here. This year, they saw the final closeout of the library renovation project through City Council. At the library, the hiring of a full-time outreach coordinator position, which was partly funded by the Ames Fund. The inaugural year of the library book bike, probably a lot of you have seen that, downtown in the summer and parked at the library. It was designed by bike enthusiast and patron Eric Johnson and built by River City Builders. A lovely poem was installed in the glass atrium that references libraries. Rob Hardy. And all are welcome here sensibility. New bookmobile, very exciting, funded by the City of Northfield, the Ames Fund, the Friend Foundation of the library, Northfield Rotary, Taylor Truck Line, and the United Way, was delivered in February, and that's already been going out and getting around town. As for the library board, we've been doing a lot of work in actually reaching out to many of you and to other organizations in town to educate ourselves and to look for ways to partner board to board and with other organizations. We have also been advocating for the library at city council meetings, and goals for 2018 include the completion and adoption of the library's 2018 to 2020 strategic plan, the development and implementation of the new outreach strategic initiatives, and the addition of regular story times at Bridge Square on Riverwalk Saturdays.
Good evening. My name is Ann Haddad, and I'm the chair of the Northfield Area Fire and Rescue Services Board, NAFRS. And we're a little different in that we're a JPA, so a Joint Powers Agreement, with our membership coming from Dundas, rural townships, and Northfield. And we were established in 2014 as a JPA. We cover 26,000 people and 144 square miles. And the way that our board functions takes into account that representation. So we have 8 voting members, 5 of whom are from Northfield, and then 6 ex officio non-voting members who have a professional investment and expertise that we tap regularly. And Ben is our favorite one right now. Ben has helped us an awful lot this year. So the thing that I would say is our biggest goal for the year, and hope to see some traction on that very, very soon, is the renovation and expansion of the fire hall, which is moving forward. And then similarly, we are operating with the intention of replacing the heavy rescue vehicle, which is fascinating to know that as cars get safer, they're also harder to get you out of. And so we have to keep our equipment up to date, because the goal, of course, of the fire service is to protect people and property. Beyond that, we're really focused on governance and really thinking about transparency, both to the partners and to the community. So if you ever want to visit our website, you'll find lots of information that gives some context and links to the work that we've been doing in minutes and so forth. We have meetings that are on a monthly basis. They're open to the public. And that is that.
Tom Bornhauser, I'm the Vice Chair of the Northfield Ice Arena Advisory Board. And just quickly like to say thank you to Sarah Carlson for her great presentation of the leaders. But Sarah forgot to talk about the 6th type of leader. That's the leader in the weeds. And so staff has handed me something that I have to stick to, because otherwise we'll be off in the weeds and then we have no idea how we got there and how we need to get out. So, and Brent can attest to that. So, the board has been meeting since August of 2016. So in the past 19 months, we did a review of the existing community arena. A nice market study was conducted. We had an economic impact analysis done. We looked at some facility options and capital cost, and they included 5 options. Maintaining the existing community arena, addition to the existing community arena, a partner with St. Olaf to build a new community arena up on their campus, to build a new community arena with 1 sheet, and to build a new community arena with 2 sheets. We then looked at the operation cost of those options, looked at some financing that would need to be done to make this accomplished, and then gave a recommendation. And the board has recommended to the council in a report of a 2-sheet community arena on land that has been donated to the Northfield Hockey Association. We currently have a 1-sheet arena, but felt that with the program currently at 150% of prime ice time, that there was the option of having a 2nd sheet could be accomplished and really achieve the goal of almost 200% of ice in prime season. The other thing that we want to make sure is noted is that private fundraising would pay the capital difference for a 2nd sheet. So there's a commitment from the ice community to step forward and do that as well. It serves the needs of the users and the constituents, and meets the needs of the community. And then we also looked at some financing sources and put together a plan, a recommendation of a plan for that. That's a proposed half-cent local option sales tax for the city of Dundas and the city of Northfield. 70% of that that revenue would be put towards the arena, but the other 30% that could be used for other recreation projects within the communities. Looking at a 20-year bond and then a local property tax for the city of Northfield. So it's been a very long process, vetted a lot of different things out of it, but I think it's great. And I think the positive thing out of this, we talk about sometimes that taxes actually sunset, or commissions or boards actually sunset, and this is one that will actually sunset. We have finished our task, we will disband, but there will be also other committees that get established from this in leading the charge up to the election this fall. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Dale Garing, Chairman of the Park and Recreation Advisory Board, and what Todd spoke about segues perfectly into me. What I'm going to talk about on behalf of the board, talk about some of our accomplishments recently. Due to a great amount of work from City Council, future and current city staff, and others, the East Cannon River Trail has been completed. For those of you who haven't been out there, please go out and visit. It's very exciting. It completes a 6-mile loop, between here and Dundas and all the way back around the other side of the river. We're going to have an event. We're going to have a ribbon cutting and family event on June 2nd. For that, more information to come. It'll be June 2nd at 10 o'clock. We have, we planned a citywide park cleanup, something that very important, hasn't been done, but that's going to be on Saturday, May 19th, coming up from 9 to 11. There's some information over where you picked up your name tags. If you're interested, you can look at that. More information to come on that, so spread the word on that one. The additional playground equipment at Dresden Hills Park through 3 of our high school students received a grant with the Youth Bank piece through Healthy Community Initiative, and we redid the playground at Dresden Hills Park, and that's between Greenville and Dairy Queen there. So that's a nice piece that was accomplished. Big thing working on our part of the strategic plan that Mayor Pennell is going to talk about a little bit here in more detail is updating the park open space and trail system plan. Last time that was updated was 2008, so it's been a while. That needs updating, so we're excited about that. And we are currently working on a 5-year plan for some capital improvement projects, trying to prioritize what we're going to do. Adding amenities to the pool, expanding the east side of Auburn Woods, developing the river corridor, etc., things like that. So exciting times, looking to move forward. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Joe Gager, and I'm the chair of the Planning Commission. So you can see what we have up there. A lot of this stuff looks a lot like some of the things that some of the other boards may be coming into. Even the top one up there looks and feels a lot like a Park and Recs board item. And really what it comes down to that we as the Planning Commission kind of touch a lot of different things that a lot of the different boards do, because ultimately what we do boils down to land use. So, and a lot of what we want to do as a city ultimately involves land. So as we start to get the ideas coming up from all the other boards and commissions, at some point in the process, we're going to get involved in it too and be talking through those things with you. So that's why some of the things on our list look a lot like some of the things on some of your lists. But there's some other things that we look at too as we start looking at. And we're actually governed by what I like to think of as governed by 2 different documents. Our comp plan and our land development code. One is very nuts and bolts. It's very dry reading if you want to read it. It's the land development code. It's really kind of the rules that we have that define what we do in town today. The other one is our vision. And so you can imagine if we've got 2 documents that guide us that are kind of complete opposites of each other, so are some of the things that we do as a planning commission. So we'll have some meetings where We are talking about the nuts and bolts items that come up as things come through the city. And then there'll be other meetings where we get the opportunity to actually sit down and start talking about some of the vision stuff. When we talk about the vision items in particular, where we're starting to look out there, see one of the things up there is tiny homes. So, and really that's one of the items that we've looked at, but really it's a part of the broader discussion that we're starting to have around housing in general. So you think about affordable housing, density. One of the things that we did, and for me it's one of the proudest things that I've been part of on the Planning Commission my years there, is late last year, the state passed a law that gave cities the opportunity to opt out of doing it, but ultimately they put regulations in place for granny pods. Temporary healthcare housing that basically is a tiny home on your property that's got a very specific use. We as a city chose to opt out of that, like every other municipality in Minnesota, because we don't want the state to be able to dictate what our rules are for our land use. We want to do that ourselves. But then we took a different, unique approach to it. We actually sat down and put together some initial rules around being able to do that, thinking that we may not use it this year, we may not use it next year. But as we start looking at this, there's going to be a need out there for that type of housing at some point in time down the road when we start looking at how do we age in place. So as we start thinking about that, that was kind of our first step as a commission to head down that path. But I think that's one of the areas where we as a commission are going to be spending a fair amount of our time going forward when we get the opportunity. But Scott Temple sitting over there, he likes to bring a lot of stuff before us too, so it kind of chops up our meetings at times. So it feels disjointed at times too, but that's definitely would invite you to come to one of our meetings and kind of see what we're doing there at times. And like I said, we'll certainly be meet with you all too as you start having some of your things come up. I would, however, like to take the opportunity to acknowledge the other members of the Planning Commission that are here this evening too, because it is a team effort as we go through this. And so I would like them to stand up here briefly too, so that everybody can see them. And you know where you are.
Thanks so much, Joe. So this is the first time that I think in my almost, let's see, 9 years or more that we have had boards and commissions all in the same room and heard all the wonderful work that you are all doing. So we've got 160 people serving on our boards and commissions, and that includes youth. And really our ultimate goal here is just to ensure that you're all cognitively healthy, right, Bonnie G? Right, so our overall health, Northfield is a fantastic community, right? We are active, we're engaged, we like to be smart, and involving all of you in the work of the city can make us smarter. So this is our vision statement that the Northfield City Council just recently adopted. It's an aspirational statement of where we want to be, and all 160 of you are helping us to move in that direction. Open, safe, welcoming community, recognized for its world-class colleges, historic riverfront downtown, dedicated to sustainably enhancing and preserving its vibrant culture. That's all of us right here. Celebrated arts, strong economy, and excellent quality of life where all can thrive. That's our aspirational statement. That's our goal, overall goal where we want to get. So go ahead and to the next one. So our strategic plan, as you can see, we're going to get an update on this on Tuesday, May 10th. One of the other things that we've never really had happen in my 9 years of service on the council is had all of our boards and commissions show up at one of our council meetings. This is a great opportunity for you to come to our council meeting. We start at 6 p.m. Tuesday, May 10th. Put it on your calendar. If you got it in your phone, put it in now. We want you to be there. So as you can see over there, that strategic plan has 6 priorities: economic development, affordable housing, infrastructure, diversity, equity, inclusion, operational effectiveness, climate change impacts. This is our roadmap over the next 3 to 5 years. all those with our desired outcomes, our targets, and our strategic initiatives, which many of you have already talked about tonight, that we are working on and that is going to keep us really, really busy over the next 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years, so that we can, and also, right, if we keep this is the focus, it will hopefully keep us moving in a forward direction. And we need your help to really accomplish that. So with that, I think I'm going to turn it over to City Administrator Marte to close us up for the evening.
Mayor. On that last slide, the staff corrected me that it was on the 8th. It's on the 8th is our meeting night, so thank you for catching that one. Certainly that's going to be a focus, and we are working on a number of projects within those areas that touch a number of these boards and commissions. Because of the time tonight, I think I'm just going to skip over this one and encourage you to watch the State of the City address. It should have been emailed to you. It's available on our website. The mayor did a phenomenal job. We talk about tons of projects. It's a long thing, but we cover all those great projects going on, and we're going to be continuing to work on that. So I have the pleasure of kind of wrapping things up this evening and just saying thank you to all of you, the boards and commissions. You are all part of tonight's event to make it happen. I want to say a special thank you to Michelle Mahold out in the back there, our Human Resources and Communications Director that we have with the city. Can we give a round of applause? She had helpers and staff too that couldn't be here this evening, so it really takes a team effort to pull all this together, and our city staff too. Thank you for coming and participating as well. A couple things I wanted to just draw your attention to. Besides the State of the City, October, we are continuing to do a training session, so I know it feels like we're just getting into spring and hopefully summer here soon. But October, we don't have a date yet, but we will be having more training for you at that time. Another new fun program that's come up that you are eligible for, along with city employees, is a new Art in City Hall program. So if you are a local artist and you'd like to participate in that, I think information is either gone out or will be going out on that if you don't have it already. So that's a fun new program, and excited about that coming forward. So with that, thank you all for sticking around, even though we went a little extra long. It was a great event, and I loved hearing from all of you. So thank you, and thank you for serving.